Hi, in this video I will talk to you about life with an immigrant. This particular spouse, when my daughter was with the Girl Scouts, the Daisies, the 5 years old or something, I used to tell this spouse, please take my daughter, our daughter, take her to the Girl Scouts meeting. But this spouse back then didn't speak English. And so she said, no, I'm not going. And I wanted to socialize my daughter with people, girls, friends. I wanted her to have friends and have these social interactions. But then this spouse wouldn't go anywhere where there were people that spoke English. So I stopped working and this spouse had to go to work. And now, sometime later, she speaks English. And do you know that there are some people that they have driver's licenses, but they don't go anywhere near the expressways? That's what this spouse was like. She just wouldn't go anywhere near the expressway. And the Girl Scouts used to meet at the library in this town, but then the library had some other function and the Girl Scouts got kicked out. So the leader got another library in another town, and I had to take the expressway to get there. Just one exit, maybe two exits on the expressway. And I used to take my daughter there, and there were other little girls there. There were some younger brothers. For some reason, there were no older brothers. And I was the only dad at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3:30 when the meetings took place. And then I would say to the spouse, please, immigrant spouse, take our daughter. I'll drive. Just come with us. But the immigrant spouse just wouldn't go. And what was terrible about it was that I don't know if the women were married or not. I never met any of their names except the leader. And I used to be in one part of the room, and all the mothers would be on the other part of the room. And that's because the Girl Scouts are for, it doesn't say it, but it's really just for a mother and her daughter. Another time, all right, so that was the Girl Scouts with the immigrant spouse. I couldn't get the spouse to do certain things. She wouldn't go to the park. There were other kids at the park. There were other moms at the park. She just wouldn't go anywhere to the park. Hates the park. It's difficult living with someone that is your opposite. Like right now, earlier she knocked on my window and said, we're leaving. And I said, all right, bye, have a nice time. And then I went to get my son. Hey, how come he's going with you guys? So I'm home alone today at this moment. Got my dog there. My dog sleeps under the bed, my son's bed. And this this son of mine today decided to go with them. They went, well, it's usually a doctor's appointment plus whatever else, which to me, they bring food from restaurants, so I know they're going to some restaurant. And my son says, "No, I really want to go, Daniel." And I'm like, "All right, just let me have the iPod then." And then he says, "No, I'm supposed to take pictures." So today is a special day. My current father-in-law, which I just met, right? He's with them. He's 70 something, I think. I'm not even sure. My mother and the spouse, daughter, and my son. So they're all there together. I don't go to any of these adventures that they have. Number one, it's hot outside, and nah. All right. Well, for my son, I did go to the Boy Scouts with him. And I even took a friend, this other boy that's a neighbor. He's not technically related to us, but his brother is technically related. His younger brother is from a different dad. So I took my son and this other boy to the Boy Scouts, but it didn't work out because they have these projects doing something with a seed and dirt, and you need to help out. Since they were different ages, they had them split up. Okay, you over there, you're gonna do this thing, and you over here, you're gonna do this thing. And I loved it because we were in air conditioning, but I couldn't be at both tables to help the children. So I went to get a neighbor. Look at me. I had to go get my 70-year-old neighbor to see if she would go with me. But she couldn't go that day because she goes to church that day, on Wednesdays. The mother of the boy, she's in the world like an immigrant too. She doesn't go anywhere because they speak English. So she didn't want to go with her own son. And then, of course, this spouse that I have right now, she didn't want to go. So what happened at the Boy Scouts, eventually, well, when we got started, they run from the school year, September to June. And we got started in March or something, April. So they didn't have that many more meetings. And one time we were raking leaves at this church. And then some dad started using the leaf blower. Or some mom, I'm not sure which. And the dirt kept going into the kids' eyes. So I told my son, don't go over that way. And I wrote to the leader an email. I said, two kids came up to us and said, I have something in my eye. Oh yeah, that's because the dads are using the leaf blower, the parents. So I didn't like that. There was not enough safety. I mean, I'm big on safety. I used to be a security guard. Let's see. The only thing weird that happened when I was a security guard is I was doing the checks on the stairs. There was a stove in the stairs. I was like, whoa, finally something happened. And then what had happened is, why were they taking it through the stairs? I don't know what happened with that stove. So anyway, that was the weirdest thing that happened as a security guard. All right, back to immigration, immigrant parents. They can't help out with the homework. Oh, I witnessed a mom hitting her kid each time he got a math problem wrong, and he got them all wrong. I mean, each time. And I said, stop, don't hit him. I even went to the principal and told her, don't give this boy any homework because all he does is get hit by his mother. And the principal said, I'm not able to change the curriculum for one boy. I'm like, you should be able to, because I mean, this kid, the reason he's slow is because his mom hits him. I remember one time my daughter baked a cake and I took half the cake over there. And as soon as they opened the door, they saw it, and I said, hi, I bring you a cake. And he just grabbed it and put it in his mouth. And then as soon as he had it in his mouth, I had cut it up into pieces, but they were like 4 pieces, and they were bigger than his mouth. And boom, his mother hit him in the was it in the lip or in the hand? I don't know. And he just stood there in shock. Because she told him, get a plate, sit down. But kids are hyper, and this one loves to eat. We used to love coming over here because this spouse is an excellent cook. Now the other one, I don't know where the other spouse grew up, because she doesn't, or maybe it's just that she doesn't like cooking, but she doesn't cook as well. Because the boy used to say, no, my mother only cooks spaghetti, I don't want that. He used to want to come over and eat. And I was happy. Because this way my son would have a friend to play with. But in the United States, it's very difficult to have relationships with children that are not yours. Like, I run into a friend once in a while, Walmart, somewhere else, Home Depot, and he says, well, come on over. Yeah, but coming over is difficult for me because I know your wife doesn't like me. Gee, I can pick about, well, one of them's always been nice. The old lady over there, she's always been nice. What wife? What women don't like men that don't work, I think. That's what I think it is. So that's why they don't like me. So I've got a rule not to go to their houses. And then I like going to the park, but sometimes there's nobody there to play with for my son, you know. The daughter doesn't go. She went twice this year. Yeah. And the spouse went twice this year. That's why the daughter went twice this year. Oh, well. Life is difficult with an immigrant spouse. Back to that topic, they're always sending money back to their parents in the other country. One good thing about them is they cook. In general, I don't know what happened to one girlfriend that she didn't learn how to cook. So we didn't last long. Well, 2 years, but that's not. And then she always wanted to go back to her country to visit her parents every year, and that makes it difficult for a young man because he has his sexual needs. And he's not going to wait around for the girlfriend to come back. when other girls are attracted to him. All right, so that's what life was like as an immigrant. I got invited by the first spouse to go to visit her parents in another country, but I didn't go because I had read about, not seen anything about life insurance and how easy it is to get rid of your husband or get rid of your wife overseas, because they really don't have that many police. I had seen a movie about a detective that he caught the husband. He said, "You bought the boat, you blew up the boat, but your wife and you both survived." And then the detective says, "I have no proof, but I believe you were trying to to extinguish your wife. Why don't you just live a happy life with her, like all the other, like us, all of us married men?" That's what the detective told this guy in the movie. And it was a 1950s or something movie. They had gone on a honeymoon to some island, Caribbean island. So that's the reason I didn't go, because I've heard about crime. I know about crime in Honduras. So that was the reason I didn't go with my first spouse to meet her parents in her country. And then when I did go with the girlfriend in between these two marriages here, it was very boring. I was there 30 days or so. Maybe it was only 2 weeks. But it was very boring, because in some Spanish countries, nobody talks to you. I mean, nobody talks to you. I mean, not even this dad-in-law that I just met, he and I could talk for at least 10 minutes, whereas per day. Whereas the one I met in Panama, I think we talked maybe 10 minutes the whole time we were there for 2 weeks, you know. He wouldn't talk to me. And the mother-in-law, she liked me, but she wouldn't talk to me either. And she didn't cook. Not that much. I mean, not as much as, like, nope. I think they were done by 6. I mean, that was it. So, I don't know. She did cook some. Was it every day? But it was a very interesting kitchen. It was a very, very interesting kitchen. It was with the lights out at whatever time, 7 p.m. All right, 7 p.m. The kitchen's closed. And here, we're sitting down for dinner sometimes at 9 o'clock. Now, I don't eat usually that much. Usually I just have a milkshake or something like that. I have a cookie. I don't eat at that time. I eat around 5 p.m. Something like that, which would be, but this is something I do now that I'm older. When I was 20, I used to eat at any time. I did meet my second mother-in-law here. I'll just say I had 3 mother-in-laws, right? I didn't meet the first one. I met the second one and she loved me. She was a wonderful lady. But at the same time, she wouldn't talk too much. From Panama. And her husband wouldn't talk to me at all. Just hello, that's it. And This third mother-in-law, I met her when I met her and she was 68 pounds in Honduras. She reminded me of the people from Auschwitz, from those Nazi concentration camps in World War II. She was 68 pounds. She could not really lift. Not for she was all bones. She couldn't lift the toddler there. And all the relatives used to take her food, but she would just feed it to the dogs. And the neighbors' dogs used to go to her house. Well, her rented house. And this spouse kept on sending money and money and money and money, so we could never get ahead as far as like well, whatever you want to do with the money, it's gone. It's shipped, what do they call it, Western Union to Honduras. And I couldn't understand why 200, 300 a month, 200, 300 a month. When I met the lady, all right, she's not spending it on food, so it was because of the house. She had rented this house, and she didn't want to live with her brother who owned maybe a mile wide of land, with no electricity back then. But she didn't want to live with her. I later found out it was her half brother. He was a rich man in land. Oh well, then she died. Sad, alone. Well, two relatives were there when she died. Two women. They had just taken away the baby. There was this girl that was 15 that she was related to the family. She got pregnant at 15. She had the baby, and then nobody's seen her since, and she left the baby with this old woman, my third mother-in-law. And this mother-in-law, when the baby the boy was taken from her, I don't know how many months later she died. Maybe it was 2 years later after I met her. She died. She was sad. So children make the house happier. And I thank God every morning when I open my eyes. Thank you, God, that I'm here, not locked up somewhere, and thank you that I have my son. And then my son wakes up and he says the same thing. He says, thank you, God. Well, I teach him to be grateful. That we're here. We're all together, at least. We're not millionaires yet, but oh well. So what do we do with mothers-in-law, dads-in-law? Now, I like this dad-in-law because even though he didn't grow up, I don't know if he grew up with any of his kids, but he had 10 of them, just like my dad. But my dad, it was by coincidence that I saw him one time walking in the street. I was like, oh, there you are. Hi. I was 16. So, like, this old man, he agrees with me. And this is before he knew what I was thinking, what my thoughts were. He says, watch TV from far away, no more than computer 1 hour a day, or TV, computer, video games 1 hour a day. And the third thing, go outside and play for 1 hour. So I like this guy. Because when I say those things, They say, oh, you're trying to control everybody. You're trying to get the kids to go outside. I'm like, oh, man. It's a pain living with people that... It's only a pain because I don't have the money. That's the only reason. Because I met a carpenter and he said to me... Well, he said two things to me. One, his daughters don't know... He had daughters. They don't know how to pick a good husband. Two... I mean, they're divorced. They live with him. I mean, same story, right? Now he's raising his grandkids. Two, he said that he always disagreed so many times with his wife, but what he always controlled the money. He said that was the one difference between himself and myself. And he works constantly. He fixed the roof. I think the leak is still there, but right now it's not dropping all the way down to the bed. And then he said, oh, we went to Europe, we went to other countries, and then, like, we live in the United States, so he says he's been all over the place, and he says, what's the point in traveling? You've been here, you've been there. What do you see? You see a woman having sex with a dog in the red light district. He said, there's what do you really see? More freedom? There's no more freedom. So he didn't want to travel, but apparently it was his spouse that wanted to travel. So he was younger, he went with her, but he doesn't see the purpose of traveling. But I would like to travel, but I have plans. I would like to travel to see relatives and make new friends. Go visit some orphanages. Sure, why not? Go start some orphanages. Make the world a better place. Oh, okay, immigrants. They work too much. The first spouse was never home. Christmas, birthday, New Year's, any holiday, she was working. I felt like I was not really... You see, I like the... All right, I'll say it. I'm a Libra, and I heard that Libras are the partnership house. But that means that we like to do things together. All right, everybody, let's go do something. Let's go have fun. And if you're married and you're at the beach by yourself and you're at the park by yourself, might as well be single. Now, back then I worked, so I used to go by myself. I used to meet new women and new girls and so on. All right. Immigrants. Now, if they both come from the same country, I've read that since they both don't speak English, they have good marriages because they have the same customs and they have the same desire to help their children succeed. But when your spouse is an immigrant, it's rough. Oh well, that's my viewpoint at 40. See you guys next time. Enjoy your life. Be better than I am. Read your Bible. Proverbs is pretty good to start with.